How's it going, YouTube and my future self? Welcome back to the Lab TCG. My name is Will, and today we are going to be talking about how I got hit in the face with chargebacks. Just kidding, my face is sore because I got my wisdom teeth out, so ignore that. Little documenting history and time. I don't feel very well right now, but I wanted to take this time and this upload date to talk about some story time. And today's story time is going to be about how I lost $1,000 operating a Pokemon business, selling products on Shopify and Square. So this is a story about chargebacks and how customers, when you are owning your own website, can essentially say they never received items, they didn't approve the charges, or anything of that matter. Basically, convincing their own bank to yoink the credit card approval and payment back from your store, and essentially just making you lose all your money and your product. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 2 times that this has happened to me, some of the things I'm investigating trying to prevent it, and some of the things going forward that I'm going to now utilize to not have this happen. So going into it, the first time that I was ever hit with a chargeback, it was actually detrimental to me, and it really ruined my business. Not only did it completely take away the funds that I had, it also completely shut off my motivation for running a business. I was 14 at the time. I had just been fronted a ton of product from a friend of mine who was helping me operate the business. This was on Shopify, and it was under the store Kanto Cards Pokemon. If you have any idea what that is, let me know you're an OG. This is 5-6 years ago at this point, so you're crazy if you actually know what that is. But Kanto Cards Pokemon was my store at the time. I was 14. I literally had no idea what I was doing. I think I was selling products at wholesale and like 5-ounce shipping on products that shouldn't be 5-ounce shipping. So it was a whole mess. But essentially, I had sold some products internationally, and I had been selling products in the States, and it was going pretty well. I had a lot of fun with it. I was making the person that I had the products from their money back, and it was just a good experience. It taught me a lot of stuff. So I had shipped probably 3 orders to Malaysia with no issues. I was shipping internationally, so it was not uncommon for me to ship to foreign countries, whether that be Europe or Malaysia was one of the other examples. And one day I got a huge order for $730 from Liverpool. Now this was pretty cool because this was probably my largest order to date. $730 worth of Pokemon product. I was ecstatic. I was so happy that I had sold all this product. And I went ahead and sent all that product to Liverpool. Made sure that I had the customs right. I had the shipping, the tracking information, all that set and ready to go. And everything, as far as I knew, was good to go. The product arrived there, and didn't hear anything back from those customers. Just I assumed it was a successful sale. Now I'd say probably a month or two afterwards, I was standing in line at a Starbucks with my parents, and I get an email from Shopify stating that that order had been charged as delivery not received, and that they would be taking $730 from my funds account and basically holding it until the chargeback had concluded. At the time, I really didn't understand what this meant. I understood the basic premise, but I was like, why a month later or 2 months later are these customers now, saying they never got this? So, of course, I was like, well, it's possible I messed up. Let me check the address. Let me make sure that I shipped it to the right place. Let me make sure that the tracking ID was correct. Let me make sure that customs went through. And sure enough, the tracking ID was right. The customs information was all good. And the package was marked as delivered to their address. So as far as I was concerned, I didn't do anything wrong. I was pretty confused at this point about what was going on. I read through the email that I got from Shopify, and lo and behold, they essentially wanted me to submit proof that I actually delivered the products and that I attempted to verify the card owner of the transaction. And sure enough, I submitted what I thought was sufficient evidence. The tracking IDs, the receipt, screenshots of the tracking showing that I shipped to the right address, what products I shipped, pretty much anything that I could at the time. And knowing me back then, it probably wasn't as detailed as it could have been, and I definitely lacked a lot of knowledge in that space. But overall, I submitted what I thought would be sufficient information for that stuff to go through, and just hope for the best. So at this point, $730 out of my checking account that I was using for my business was a huge hit to my day-to-day. It felt really bad, but I figured, I've submitted everything I can, and hopefully that they side with me. So a couple months go by. because when you submit chargeback information, it takes a while for that information to get verified and whatnot. And lo and behold, I got an email from Shopify a couple months later saying that the customer's bank had sided with their customer. And I did some research on chargebacks, and this is quite common. This is kind of why credit cards exist, and one of their main features is purchase protection. So theoretically, if I wanted to say that I charged something to whatever credit card I use and I didn't mean to, it couldn't get canceled. And chargebacks are actually very common in the e-commerce world, and I guess just retail in general. So sure enough, I lost that $730. And not only did I lose the money from that sale, I lost all the product and I lost the shipping charges. I was out of everything. And as far as I know, that customer not only got to pay for those items for free, but he also got to keep all those items. So that put a huge downer on me, and I just ended the business there. Pretty much, couldn't afford that loss, and just decided to scrap it. If people were gonna just try and take advantage of me at that young age, like, there's no point. So I scrapped it, and that was it. And this is one of the big benefits to selling on Amazon, TCGPlayer, eBay, Mercari, something that most people probably don't factor, is those platforms will help you a lot when it comes to this stuff. Shopify, Square, and Wix, I've never used Wix, but speaking from assumption, those platforms really don't have a lot of ways to help you with chargebacks. eBay, I had gotten a chargeback once basically saying that they didn't mean to order the item and that they didn't want to ship it back. And all eBay wanted me to do was prove that I had shipped it to the right address that they wanted me to. I was able to do that, and they sided with me. That was it. And they took the loss. The customer still got their funds, but I got to keep mine. So eBay and Amazon, these other platforms, you submit the proof that you did what you were supposed to and just fulfilled that order to the right address, and they'll likely side with you. These other sites where you're your own, basically, vendor operating through a third-party website hosting or e-commerce, they are not the same at all. So it's definitely something that you need to factor in if you're going to do something like this. So fast forwarding to now I have a new business. That's the Lab TCG that you all know well. A couple months ago, I guess last month at this point, right before Brilliant Stars pre-orders had shipped, I got an order for 2 Vivid Voltage GTBs and a Chilling Rain booster box. This order totaled $380. It was going to California, and I didn't think much of it. One of the things that I guess I kind of messed up was these sites do give you a risk analysis bar, and the risk analysis was at medium or high. I can't remember which one, but it definitely showed some level of risk. I didn't really look into the details. And I shipped it to the address. I shipped it to where it said it's supposed to be, packaged it nicely, included a thank you note, and thought that was it. Brilliant Stars comes around, I ship all those orders, no big deal. And about a week after Brilliant Stars, I get a email from Square saying, hey, this buyer didn't mean to make this transaction. So, instantly I was kind of like, oh, this sucks. I know how this ends. I don't know how to fight this other than provide proof of delivery. So Square immediately took the $380 from my checking account, which thankfully that's not as big of an issue now as it would have been back then. It still sucks, but it's not going to kill the business. And I'm also much more headstrong now. Like, I'm not going to let one setback ruin everything that I've built. But essentially, they took the funds and they said, hey, provide this information. And one of the things that I couldn't do that they asked me to was did I try to verify the card owner? And I couldn't. I had no way to do that. I provided proof of delivery, and basically the tracking information said this customer visited on this date and this is what they did. But sure enough, just submitted what I had, and it wasn't much. So today, actually, I got an email from Square stating that the bank had sided with their customer. Now, like I said, this wasn't a surprise to me. I had kind of already factored in that $380 as a loss. But it just goes to show you that you are not protected from fraud, really, in many ways. There's things that I can do better to limit fraud, not accepting any level of risk analysis when it comes to Shopify or Square. They both tell you if there's risk. And also, something that I'm going to try and incorporate now is verifying purchases. So every time someone purchases from my site, figure out a way to either email that customer and be like, hey, you ordered from my site, thanks so much for the support. Did you mean to purchase this? And if you get the yes there, that's pretty good evidence that it wasn't a fraudulent charge, and that's kind of what I think they're looking for. And this video isn't necessarily to be about how to prevent chargebacks. I wanted to more talk about story time, because I don't have a final way to dispute chargebacks. It actually is extremely upsetting. You try to do good business and people still try to take advantage of you. So it is what it is. I'm working on it, and it really sucks too, because the thing in Liverpool has made me not want to ship internationally. And there are some people I've interacted with that would like me to ship internationally, and I just can't stomach that risk of shipping internationally. And I've thought about, maybe if I accepted cryptocurrency, more specifically like USDC, a stablecoin. There's no chargebacks with stablecoins or cryptocurrencies. That's kind of one of the main benefits to using cryptocurrency as a seller, is if someone pays for something in cryptocurrency, they cannot get that back. And of course, that can lead to malintent on the seller side, where if you accept cryptocurrency and you don't ship, well, the buyer's out of luck. But in terms of the selling side, I have a lot of stuff to lose. So cryptocurrency is an option. I've thought about accepting cryptocurrency for international transactions, but even then, most people don't know about cryptocurrency or are unfamiliar, or they would be scared on their side that they'd be risking funds for someone that's not going to ship, and I totally understand that. But it just goes to show you need to be extremely diligent with transactions, and this goes not only for your own website. If you are buying and selling on places that you're trusting, PayPal or Venmo or Cash App, always use goods and services. I had a transaction this week, actually, that it's been a month since this person was supposed to ship, and they actually did ship it today, but it almost looked like that transaction was going to go to PayPal, goods and services, and at that point I would have been fine. I would have got my money back, and we'll see if those items are how they're supposed to be. But you always protect yourself. The 3% fee is so worth it, because all it takes is one huge transaction going wrong and you lose a ton. So, bite the 3% or charge it to the person that you are buying from. Just always protect yourself and be very diligent about documenting stuff. It is extremely important. One of the things that I've researched about chargebacks is if you can kind of put together, when did this customer visit, when did they place this order, all the timestamps as to when the customer visited, that helps your case. But if you think a situation's going bad, screenshot the entire conversation. Protect yourself from these problems. Insurance is another thing on packages that could be a big deal. If stuff gets damaged, having $3 in insurance is a big deal. That can save you a lot of money. So just kind of wanted to go over the story time of how I lost $1,000 in Pokemon. Like I said, not feeling super hot because of the whole wisdom teeth thing. But next week, I'm going to go ahead and go back to a more how to business Pokemon video. So thank you guys so much if you watched to the end for watching the video. Appreciate all the support. We are about to hit 1,000 subscribers. It feels crazy to say that, but when we do, I'm going to be hosting a live Q&A in Discord. So if you're not in the community Discord already, be sure to join up. The link is in the description. But once again, thank you for all the support. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm super excited for 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for all the support, and I will catch you all in the next video. See you guys.